What happens if you beat up Putin's son-in-law in the middle of a street in Russia? Today, we're looking at the ultimate story of instant karma. This is how a billionaire with 6 banks went from the king of Moscow to a prison inmate in a matter of hours, all because of one moment of road rage. Meet Matvei Urin. In 2010, at just 34 years old, he was on top of the world. He wasn't just rich, he was untouchable. He controlled a banking empire worth billions of rubles. In Moscow at the time, life for Urin was like playing Grand Theft Auto with God mode enabled. On the afternoon of the 14th of November 2010, Urin was tearing down Rublovka Highway in his bulletproof Mercedes. This wasn't just any road, it's the main artery for Russia's elite. His bodyguards trailed him in a van, like a private army. To Urin, other drivers had 2 choices: get out of the way or get pushed out of the way. Until he ran into a BMW that refused to yield. No matter how much they honked, flashed lights, or swerved, the BMW stayed in its lane, completely ignoring the billionaire's ego. This snapped something in Urin. In his world, nobody dared to disrespect him. So his Mercedes cut off the BMW and forced it to a stop, while the security van blocked the retreat. Bodyguards with baseball bats jumped out, smashed the windows, dragged the driver onto the asphalt, and beat him to a pulp. Once they were done, Urin left the scene just like he always did, spitting out a threat and driving off. He thought it was just another unlucky nobody. He couldn't have been more wrong. The driver was Jorrit Faassen, a Dutch businessman. On paper, he was just a quiet executive at Gazprom. With almost no online presence, he seemed totally unremarkable. But he held the most dangerous card in the deck. He was the husband of Maria Vorontsova. And Maria's father is Vladimir Putin. Yes, Urin had just ordered a brutal beatdown on Putin's son-in-law. Faassen didn't beg for mercy. He calmly called the police, and then he made one other call. We don't know exactly what was said, but you can imagine the conversation. What followed wasn't a police investigation. It was a military operation. The response was led not by local cops, but by the head of Moscow's Interior Ministry, backed by elite troops from the FSO, the president's personal guard. In less than an hour, before Urin could even pop a bottle of champagne, his convoy was surrounded on New Arbat Street. There were no negotiations. He was taken down instantly. The untouchable banker was hauled off to the station like a sack of potatoes. At first, Urin thought it was all just a misunderstanding. So he tried to use his best weapon, money. In Russia, money usually makes problems disappear. Even his father, ex-military intelligence, pulled every string he had. But this time, they hit a brick wall. The phones went dead. Every favor was denied. Faassen didn't even show up. His lawyer had one message: no settlement, no negotiations. Round 1. The court sentenced him to 3 years for hooliganism. Urin took the deal, figuring he'd wait it out and return to his empire. Round 2. The prosecutors appealed. Too light, they said. The sentence jumped to 4.5 years. Then came round 3, the real nightmare. Just a month prior, Urin's 6 banks were model institutions. Suddenly, investigators found massive irregularities. Licenses revoked. Banks collapsed. Soon, the charges escalated from assault to financial fraud and embezzlement. His sentence spiked to 8.5 years. Now, you might be thinking, wow, Russian justice is swift. Don't be naive. Let's look at another case. In 2013, another tycoon, Alexander Urkov, beat up a regular driver in a similar road rage incident. The result? Nothing. No special forces. No bankruptcy. He walked free. Why? Because he beat up a nobody. Urin punched the Kremlin. In 2018, Urin was finally released. He went in a billionaire. He came out broken and buried in debt. Ironically, in 2023, a court banned him from leaving the country due to his unpaid debts. He must stay in Russia, slowly paying the enormous price for that one punch. So, what's the lesson here? Urin and Urkov committed the same crime, but faced opposite fates. The contrast reveals a cold reality. When money collides with absolute power, the law becomes a weapon for the stronger side. But when ordinary people face privilege, justice is just a word. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. See you next time.